Hello everyone, welcome back to Two Bros Game Night. I am your host, Older Bro.
I'm your other host, Younger Bro.
And today we continue in Eve's descent into madness. I don't have any control over most of the terrible things that happen. To me, to others, or the land. No power to change it. But I can bring on that feeling of conclusion, because it's inevitable. And in a way, that's power.
So maybe I can absorb some of it for myself. Then I won't just bring about conclusion. I can
Absorb what?
be-
What are you
Conclusion.
Okay.
She's absorbing death, the finality of life, so that she can bring about conclusion or some shit. I've been staring into Lizzie the Chuckwalla lizard's dull, lifeless eye. I'm not sure if it was staring at her beautiful leather skin, or if it was just getting all this off my chest, but I'm smiling. Yellowstone is not smiling. Honestly, that's not a horrified enough face. She's staring, eyes wide and pale. Her mouth is open, but she's not saying anything. Weird. Yellowstone and I turn away from each other and look ahead to Zion. 81, 82.
Eve? You need to come home.
I don't really need anything.
No, you do. And it ain't here. I know it ain't.
She sniffles. Most people dab their eyes when they cry. Yellowstone dabs her head. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
This place is good for me, Yellowstone.
I don't think anything out here is good for you. I smile. It's not something I can usually do consciously, but I've been trying to force myself more, and I think she needs it.
I can rest here.
No. Oh, no.
93, 94.
Kidnap her!
All done.
Zion, finished picking up all the pieces, waves at us.
It ain't rest you're looking for, and you know it.
Smoke starts to pilfer out of her volcano. I feel bad for getting her all worked up, but everything I said is the truth. As close to it as I've ever come. Our resident guardian angel takes notice. And if we're talking about inevitable conclusions, Zion's zipping over to comfort Yellowstone will always be one of them.
Try to calm down, Yellowstone.
She dumps the shards of glass in Yellowstone's head, then floats down to hug her from behind.
I know it's hard, but if anyone is going to get her to come back, it's not going to be us.
Yeah, it's also probably... Here's the thing. Who I want it to be... Okay. Who I want it to be in my heart is Yosemite. Who I think in my brain it's going to be is Jessie. They're literally going to go kidnap Jessie and bring her here.
We'll see.
Yellowstone goes limp. The smoke peters out, and all that's left of the flare-up is Zion clinging on tightly.
I know. We just gotta trust Yosemite.
You must always trust Yosemite.
That's right.
Trust Yosemite.
Trust in me.
Zion looks me in the eye. Very cheeky kid.
It has to be her.
Yep. She's gonna give it a shot at least. Even if I tell her no, she'll still try. Yeah, that is your girlfriend, all right. She knows more than you. She's a better person than you. You've learned this once before. She will make you learn it again. The second she entered this park, it was destined to end in a standoff to see who can assert themselves as the most correct. And again, as we know, she is the most correct.
Where is the princess anyway? Still getting her beauty sleep?
She doesn't need beauty sleep. Because Yosemite is naturally beautiful, Eve.
Okay, Zion. I know you're angry right now, but that's like a little bit that's a little bit more hurtful than you might intend.
Yeah.
Zion blows me a raspberry. What is?
Close.
What is? Okay. Let's ignore that. What is with this 2-on-1 combativeness today? I made a choice. They need to respect it. No, they don't.
Your snotty friend went for a walk. Had me blast a few stones for her so she could do it in peace. Told her there'd be more of them, but did she listen?
No, of course not. She wouldn't do that.
I like how they're all admitting, like, no, of course she isn't gonna listen.
stubborn.
She's Yosemite.
She's more of a talker than a listener.
Ah, so I've learned. Pretty irritating for a demigod.
She's irritating? Of all the people here, you're the most irritating.
I'm sure she'll come running back here once those things realize she's out and about.
The smoke puffing out of Yellowstone's head dissipates, turning a light gray before stopping entirely.
You mean those boulder buddies, right?
That is not
Boulder
what we're
buddies?
calling them.
boulder buddies.
Yeah, you can really see in this model that that this is built on the same engine as Doki Doki Literature Club. I don't know why, but just this face is very much a model from Doki Doki
Well,
Literature
yeah,
Club.
all these visual novels are using that same vision.
It's not all Renpai, but like her face very specifically reminds me of like Natsuki from Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
Death Valley's eyes look like they're going to roll into the back of her head from rage.
Now you've done it.
Listen here, Craterhead.
It's a caldera. She stomps over to Yellowstone, hunching over her like a dead, crooked tree. Zion must sense her bloodlust because she scoots away.
Those things ain't your buddies. Or did you forget your encounter from last night?
No siree. Last night I had even more frightmares and nightmares than usual.
Good. Let it be a lesson.
But I gotta be real with you, Sheriff. The more I look at them, the less scared I am. They're just so gosh darn cute.
I can understand Yellowstone's perspective. If they weren't so murderous, I think I'd want to play with one.
Aye, you're kidding.
I don't know. They've got those frozen faces. It's terrifying enough to wrap back around to being cute. Like a cat with no hair.
Ay, cállate. I don't want to hear it out of you, too. Those stones are ravenous little beasties who bash your brains out the
I
second
want
they lay
Yosemite
their
to
eyes
come
on
back with a group of them all huddled around her,
That would be funny.
like not attacking her. It's just like
I
it's all
remember
her.
this one hiker. Poor bastard was unlucky enough to be caught up in their annual migration to the basin.
Death Valley continues on her horrific story. Every time she tells it, which has been at least once every day since I got here, she revels in the gory details. She must have 1,000 ways to describe gray matter. Yellowstone ignores her, instead glancing around until she finds what she's looking for.
And I told him to stay where he was, but the panic must have gotten...
What about that fella?
She points at the stone, positioned in front of the cabin about 100 yards away. I was wondering when they'd finally notice him.
Transcended garden gnome.
It's not! Don't you dare refer to Cerberus that way.
Cerberus? Like the guard dog?
I mean, this is Death Valley. This is basically hell.
Death Baddie.
Yeah.
That's totally a different character.
A crescent moon grin spreads across Death Valley's thin face.
That's right, Shrimpy.
Here we go again.
The guardian of my hellish realm. All who wish to enter this space must pass through him or die in the process. His ferocity? Unmatched. His compassion? You fool!
Oh, I skipped a little bit.
He knows not the first thing about it. And yet, I've somehow managed to tame this here beast. It answers at my call, heeds my every command.
I don't believe that for a second.
Zion goes pet him.
She coughs. A sheet of plywood falls off the cabin.
Cerberus!
Cerberus sleepily turns himself towards us. His beady eyes are half closed. This is the most he's moved in weeks.
Roar!
There's a delay. I count to 10 in my head.
Wow.
He unleashes his roar, a faint meep, barely audible from this distance. Most of it is obscured by wind.
There's no better duo than a demigod and her beast.
The sad thing here is I'm disappointed. I am disappointed in Death Valley. Death Valley gives a proud cackle. I'm used to it at this point, but Zion wrinkles her nose at the spec. Oh, I just want to be clear. Did Eve come here knowing that there'd be another national park girl here? Was she just like, I want to die, I'll go to Death Valley, and I'm sure I'll run into whoever's in charge of Death Valley?
Maybe.
Probably. Zion wrinkles her nose at the spectacle. And if there's anything Death Valley likes, it's spectacle. Even if it only exists in whatever reality she's occupying.
So what you're saying is that his name is Cerberus.
Death Valley might have her theatrics, but Yellowstone has priorities.
How about you take the wax out of your ears and actually listen to what I say?
I'll listen when I care.
You're not saying anything. He's never done anything but sit there and get pushed around by other stones.
Shut your trap or I sick him on you. Cerberus is a monster fueled by the screams of the damned.
Cerberus is a pretty goofy name if you ask me.
I did it.
He should have a name that suits him. Something a little groovier.
The inside of Yellowstone's head glows red with inspiration. That's a first.
By gum, I've got it. We'll call him Dwayne.
No. No. No.
We found the rock upon which Dwayne Johnson was named!
Ugh.
Hell no!
She got there too.
Zion puts her finger. Zion, I can't even be depressed at this statement.
God.
Zion puts her finger to her chin.
Dwayne,
Ah,
like it.
I like it. Come on.
Death Valley's rage spasms through her
How
muscles.
dare you! You can't just enter a demigod's realm and start renaming her minions!
sad! She's not even angry, she's sad.
Aw, don't be like that, cuz.
Don't call me that.
Besides, I think Dwayne's way spiffier than Cerberus.
It ain't spiffy! It's just downright unethical!
Unethical!
My minion! My Cerberus!
For what it's worth, I actually agree with Death. Cerberus is dark, it's moody, it's metal.
It's metal.
Yellowstone, of all people, should know. It's dope AF. Girl, don't.
Well, why don't we go ask him and see how he feels?
Yellowstone hops up, does a little twirl, because everything is a performance, and skips over to Cerberus. Hold on, I thought you said Death Valley had performance, and Yellowstone had priorities. So it's not a performance for her, it's priorities.
Oh yeah! What are you up to?
I'm gonna ask him!
Don't you dare! He's a savage and dangerous beast who...
And I'm gonna pet him!
No.
She stops in front of the docile rock, her hands planted against her waist.
Hiya!
Cerberus raises himself up and slowly blinks at her.
Name's Yellowstone. I'm like your prickly pal over there, but you probably already knew that, huh?
Don't let that freak patronize you, Cerberus!
Death. It keeps shortening Death Valley to Death, and it's just like, no. Death Valley yells across the empty clearing of the desert. Cerberus turns himself to look at her, yawns, then turns back to look at Yellowstone. The whole process takes about 45 seconds. Yellowstone hunches over and smiles at him.
She keeps calling you that, but you don't seem like a Cerberus to me.
I'm pretty sure Valley just choked on her spit.
Oh,
He responded.
Right? It don't suit you one bit. You're a lover, not a fighter. Except when I'm sweet.
Her voice darkens.
When I'm angry, I destroy.
She pats him on the head. I think it's his
Say,
head.
you're a pretty good listener. Would you mind if I start calling you Dwayne?
Come on.
Dwayne.
Come
No,
on.
this text box is wrong. Dwayne, the sleepy stone with moss growing on him, gives a delighted chirp. Resembling more of a spring than a petrified rock, he bounces up and down. Each time he hits the ground, a cloud of dirt puffs up beneath him. Goodbye, Cerberus, I hardly knew ye.
Yo! He says he's chill with being Dwayne now.
Quit acting like you can understand him!
I do understand him. You don't. That's what the problem here is.
You don't need to know what they're saying to understand someone. Sometimes you just feel it.
Zion floats away to join Yellowstone in bestowing many pets and praises upon Dwayne.
Dwayne, I just want to let you know, I would die for you.
I mean, this is the reaction most people would give if they met Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in person.
Oh, God.
Miss Yellowstone, you mustn't say things like that. It's too sad. Pat said, I would kill for Dwayne.
What is wrong with you people?
They really love Dwayne.
This entire chapter was just developed because they thought it'd be funny to introduce a happy rock named Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And they were just like, how can we get a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson bit into this game? Oh, I know.
jeez, Lizzie.
Most girls would
Wait,
do this.
Lizzie?
Friends with a literal rock.
You're going back to talking to Lizzie right now? Seriously? There are more important things going on! Death Valley twists her head around and gazes down upon me. Veins press against her forehead. Her mouth purses into a grimace that digs so deep into her cheekbones, I wouldn't be surprised if the imprint remained there for centuries.
What?
She kicks sand in my face. Good!
Wait! Time out!
Hero. I gasp. I exhale. I gasp. I exhale. I gasp. I hold the breath in. It numbs the sting in my lungs. But once again, I'm forced to exhale. Physical exertion is awful. The dispersion of energy is truly the fatal flaw of all life. And if I am real, and I am here, and I am in pain, then the unfortunate conclusion to all this is that I too am flawed. Yet despite my internal admission of imperfection, a bitter lesson that I have been repeatedly forced to learn, and my external pleas for mercy, these dreadful rock golems continue to pursue me.
Leave me alone!
That guy's flat.
I flee across the desert. The mobile boulder follows. An endless expanse of rock and sand blend together, devouring all sense of time. For all I know, I may have been running for hours. Between wheezing, I glance at the position of the sun. It's hardly moved since I left. I'm so pathetic. All I wanted is to go for a simple walk. Even made her position on going home quite clear. Not entirely unexpected, but a big enough of a setback for me to strategize further. A walk somewhere unfamiliar and exciting seemed like a great opportunity to clear my head. Not just so I could figure out what exactly is going on in that impulse-driven brain of hers, but so I could also determine how to help her move forward. How we could do it together. Look, if you want to do it together, you just gotta ask. But as I was wandering up and down these dunes and inspecting ancient rock formations, with only my scattered thoughts for company, I realized Eve doesn't want to be together. She doesn't want to be with anybody. All she wants is to be alone, to not be forced to engage and confront these issues. A stipulation I'm sure a brute like her new roommate is more than happy to abide by. Death Valley is at the lowest elevation in the country, with the highest temperatures on the whole continent. Short of banishing herself to the wilderness of Alaska, this is as isolated from society she can get. And if isolation is what she wants, then fine. I'll make sure she gets it by creating an opportunity to drag her off alone somewhere. Then, and only then, Then and only then will that girl talk. Otherwise, it's too easy for her to ignore. Except when I anger her. She has plenty to say when I do that. This is all, of course, assuming I actually make it back. The rock takes 3 leaps and cuts the distance between us in half.
You can do that?
At the dip of the horizon, I can see the cracked ground of the racetrack, the ancient and dried-out lake bed that Eve and Death Valley have claimed as their own.
Thank goodness.
The barbarian will take care of this. The barbarian. One shot from a revolver and these things explode into dozens of fragments. What are those bullets made of anyways? Rock.
Probably rock.
I propel my fragile body forward till the cabin, and 4 familiar blips appear in the distance, their bodies blurring between the lines of the heat knife.
Hey! I would greatly appreciate some
It nips at my heels.
Oh God! Okay, alright, help!
The closer I get, the clearer they all become. Death Valley shields the sun with her hand and zeroes in on me. It's hardly audible, but I see her tilt her head back and cackle.
Why'd I tell you what happened, Bendeja? Oh, serves you right!
You'll be lucky if I let you have a painting in the cabin. Rot in the cavernous salt mines of Hades, you LARPing degenerate.
You can make it, Yosemite! Ditto! Just don't look down! Yellowstone,
Ditto?
you only say that when they're somewhere high up! That makes sense, but why are we still yelling? Because I don't want Yosemite to feel left out in the conversation! Girls, please!
Shut the fuck up!
Why are they like this? All of them need to fix their priorities before my feet fall off.
Someone help her! That thing's getting close!
Hold on. I want to see it play out.
Yeah, hold on. Let her cook. Let her cook.
Not happening!
Eve staggers to her feet. She tosses herself at Death Valley and shoves her out of the way, stealing her revolver out of the
You
holster.
want to die?
Quiet! I need to
She
focus.
Yosemite.
Please shoot Yosemite. Shoot Yosemite! Struggling to balance on her feet, Eve extends her arm and points the gun at me. Why does she even... Oh no.
Might want to duck! Or something!
You better not miss!
Almost in the clear, almost in the clear, almost in the clear! I dive, The last thing I see before skating across the ground is Eve flinching from the recoil. A loud blast cracks through the air. There's a yelp and then silence. The ground cuts and tears my skin, the thin layer of pebbles scattered across my body offering only the slightest protection. I skid to a stop. When I peel my face off the dirt, I'm face to face with another rock. Please, no, not another
Howdy,
one.
Yosemite. Don't mind Dwayne. He ain't gonna hurt ya.
He's a friend.
Hi.
Death Valley saunters over. She looks stupid while doing it. Walking? Then she takes a knee and smirks. She looks even stupider doing that.
Have a nice stroll, cupcake.
Are you staring at her midriff?
I don't know.
Do you ever shut up?
No.
Talk about the pot and the kettle.
Lay off. She's mine to criticize.
No, you don't get to say that right now, girl. You abandoned your wife. Eve shoves the revolver into Death Valley's chest. She turns up her nose despite offering me her
She can
hand.
dish it out, but she can't take it.
How gross. You're trying to look cool, towering over me like you're pretending you're actually tall, acting all annoyed. Well, you aren't cool. You're objectively a tryhard. But because I know that, I will offer the extremely ironic gesture of accepting your hand. It'll be a laugh riot, to me, personally, because only I will understand how awkward you look. It will be one of my thousands of little inside jokes about you. The ultimate revenge. I take her hand, thus single-handedly creating post-irony.
I don't dish out anything that isn't true.
And criticism of you isn't?
I didn't say that.
She stares.
But I also didn't imply that it wasn't. Don't go thinking they're all valid.
But please don't go thinking I'm not aware of them either.
You act like such a princess.
Eve stops herself, lets the sentence die right on her tongue.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. Glad you're okay. Be more careful.
She just fold? She doesn't fold. She wouldn't dare.
Excuse me. What exactly do you mean by this?
What we were just doing. What we always do. Don't need it.
Doesn't need it? I don't want to hear that. The time we spent together was never damaging, was it? Hold on. I like the fact that they're here to drag her back. And she clearly doesn't, she doesn't want to go back. And she's like, yep, she doesn't want to, focus on all the problems that and face her problems. But she also, Yosemite, does not want to face Eve saying, I don't need you or want you. And it's just like, Lord, game. Was that part of why she left? I thought it was helpful. I thought it was us helping each other.
Hey, Death. I'm going into town. Have it ready by the time I'm back.
Maybe I won't. Maybe you don't tell me what to do.
Thanks.
She turns around and starts for the cabin. No, I know what it was. What it all meant. It wasn't always easy, but it wasn't bad. I will not let her delude herself into thinking everything until now was a mistake. She doesn't get the privilege.
Hold it. If you're going into town, then I'm coming with you. You can finally tell me what these rocks are.
Eve glances over her shoulder and scoffs. Without saying another word, she walks away. Stubborn to the core.
If that's all you want to know, I can teach you.
I don't love you. Go away. Death Valley slithers over to my side and tries to wrap an arm around my shoulder. I dodge.
Teach me what?
About these sailing stones? You know, the things you keep pissing off?
Sailing stones. I read an article about them once.
Eve is my top priority, but I must admit I'm more than a little intrigued by the things that have been trying to murder us since we got here.
A pond forms in the lake bed that freezes overnight. When it starts to melt, the ice pushes any rocks or boulders in its way. It's a phenomenon that only occurs here in this park.
Freckles did say you know a little about a lot.
You said that about me? I wonder what else they talked about.
Well, what does this have to do with the goblins chasing us around? I mean, real sailing stones aren't actually alive.
Yeah, but national parks aren't actually alive.
You're in a weird.
Who knows?
You're in
The
a weird
Hellspawn
world.
version of them used to be scattered around. But a couple of years ago, some eggheads caught the real stones moving on camera. Flash forward a few weeks, and it was like the whole damn park had been overrun.
That would align with what I read in the article.
You and all the fleshy meatbags walking around out there, living their lives, reading, doing meatbag stuff.
You are also a meatbag. Hold on.
That means they're correlated?
Probably. People got thoughts about you and me. That's why we're here. People got thoughts about them too. You, me, Shrimpy, and Freak Show over there? We're like a beacon for those things. Freckles too on account of who she chooses to spend her time with.
Thinking about it for a moment, it does all piece together. The stones obviously aren't natural, so they most likely come from the same place as us. And before she left us, Eve had been starting to feel things, experience things she shouldn't. Here I was chalking it up to synchronicity.
Of course, I'm more like a book zapper than a beacon. Sacred duty and all.
Is this what isolation causes? Delusion? Would I have been like this if I never met Zion?
Also, her hand looks a little short.
It's perspective, probably. Death Valley points her gun at the horizon and mouths gun noises to herself. Pew, pew! No, I would never. Although it is impressive that she realized all this herself. It took me years of research to come to all these conclusions. As a park girl, she deserves a tiny bit of credit. Our existence is miraculous, after all.
How do you know all this?
'Cause I ain't brain dead.
Damn.
I'd like a productive answer, please.
Then give me a productive question. You don't need to be a snobby bookworm to know the truth, if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think that we'll stop here and
Because
come
it's
back
about
next
to get
time.
heated.
Yeah, it's about to get heated. And not from the fucking desert. So, that's going to be it for this episode. We will come back next time and continue on in National Park Girls, where I guess we get to know the 4th National Park Girl and not actually spend time fixing the problem that they're here to fix. Who knows? Until then, the future is very uncertain. What is certain is you guys are awesome, and there'll be more Two Bros Game Night tomorrow. See you then!
Goodbye.